Please note the content of this podcast and this particular series is provided for informational purposes only and does not constitute as medical advice. Please consult a licensed healthcare professional for guidance. Before we begin this podcast, I would like to say a heartfelt thank you to our paid patrons, Bianca, Blue, Sarah, Joanne, Hazel, and Jess. Thank you so much for your support. Now on to the podcast. Hello again, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Witchy Ways for Modern Days. This is Brittany from Winslow Naturals, your guide through this very fulfilling yet quite uncomfortable journey of shadow work. Today's episode is a bold one. It is fiery. It is most likely going to stir some things up in your body, in your soul, and that is on purpose. So here is my apology before I help you to uncover some things that might make you a little bit uneasy. So today we are going to be diving into episode 6 of Shadow Work, which is all about sacred rage. So this episode is about understanding the role of anger when it comes to shadow work, how society, our friends, our family, possibly our religion, taught us to suppress this sacred rage. We're going to talk a little bit about what happens when we internalize our anger, why expressing anger is so vital to healing this trauma. And then some practices and ritual that we can use to safely and powerfully and appropriately release that rage. So if you have ever been called too much or too emotional or aggressive or dramatic, any of those things, if you have swallowed your anger to keep peace, only to burn out later, or if you are scared of your own temper, or you're judgmental of other people's rage, any of the above, all of the above, any one, this is most likely the episode for you. This is going to be the vital episode in the series for you. So let's start with terminology. What actually is sacred rage? So I'm going to begin with a very radical statement. Apologies if this is too blunt. This is going to be the blunt episode. You're going to have to bear with me. I do not mean to be too blunt or sound potentially rude. It is what it is. This is going to be just a very point blank episode. So, rage is not wrong. Rage is not something that we should feel shame about or be shamed for. It is a response to perceived injustice. Rage is a response to betrayal. It's a response to some sort of violation, right? Rage is the voice of the boundary that was crossed. So if somebody crosses a boundary or they accidentally get too close to one of our personal boundaries, even if we aren't super aware of what our personal boundary even is, if somebody gets super close, rage tends to be the voice that pushes back towards them. Rage is a scream coming from the part of us that was silenced at one point. So in its most unhealed form, rage has the very real capability of destroying any and all around you. But in its healed sacred form, or healing sacred form, rage can be a catalyst. It can be a catalyst for truth, for protection, for power, for liberation, like liberating our soul from the heaviness that sits in it. Sacred rage is the moment my example is going to be a woman. Sacred rage is the moment a woman stops apologizing for taking up space. It's the moment a survivor puts their foot down and says, no, never again. Rage is the heat that burns down what is false, so that something true can take its place. So sacred rage is vital. It is a vital thing to understand our own rage, the reasons behind it, the power and the force behind it. And it is our job, to ourselves mostly, but also to the people we interact with, to understand it, to soothe it, and to transform it into something that is functional. So today we're going to stop being afraid of our own fear, afraid of our own rage. We are going to start listening to our rage. So most of us, I'm going to say majority, probably did not learn how to express anger in a healthy way. So we were taught things like, oh, be nice, don't talk back, good girls don't get mad, or boys don't cry, they can punch walls, they can scream, but they can't cry. And all of these things are super damaging, right? Like we're aware at this point in time. It's 2025. We are aware, and it's pretty well discussed, at least in some therapeutic circles. Internalizing anger will only hurt. It's gonna harm. It is not going to help heal or soothe anything. So what actually happens when our anger isn't safe for us? It gets buried. It gets buried. And so that anger that is not expressed through a verbal or just even acknowledging it, like anger that isn't expressed typically turns into resentment, passive aggression. It can turn it into, destructive things like self-harm, addiction, explosive outbursts. It can even potentially turn into depression. So yes, suppressed rage often masks itself as sadness or numbness, however your depression may manifest. Rage is typically, I'm not going to say it's always, it is commonly, but not always, a result of suppressed rage. So in shadow work, reclaiming our rage is not about becoming violent. We're not going to accept all the anger that's inside of us. We can accept it exists, but we're not going to accept it. It's not about becoming violent or becoming comfortable with screaming or being outwardly angry. But reclaiming our rage is about being honest. So how actually does suppressed rage show up? I'm going to give some examples because I feel like some examples might be necessary for this one, even more than usual. So I wrote down a few common signs so that I would remember them all. Some common signs that unacknowledged anger is festering within your shadow. You might feel on edge all of the time, but you can't really explain why. You could cry during confrontation, not because you're sad, but because overwhelm tends to be that first instinct that pops up. You could be attracting partners who frequently cross your boundaries. You could get headaches. You could have chronic tension in the neck and the shoulders, jaw, or like even stomach area. You might have some gut problems. You could be what's called like a chronic fixer. Like you struggle not trying to fix everybody and everything around you, but you feel kind of bitter about it, or you're exhausted by it. You could also be someone who judges other people for being loud or assertive or too direct. Any of those things that I just listed, and there's so many more signs, right? I just went with a few that I think are relatively generic enough for people to relate to. Your rage, Your rage ultimately does not want to harm. It wants to protect. It is a defense mechanism. So your rage says, very quietly, within the soul, our rage says, I deserved better. It likes to say, that wasn't okay. I won't let that happen again. I'm going to protect myself from getting hurt by XYZ by being aggressive. So when we suppress our rage, we are actually suppressing our self-protection mechanisms. We're abandoning ourselves in the name of peace. We are suppressing ourselves in the name of keeping peace. But I want to pose a question to you. It's a rhetorical question. You don't need to think on this too much. What if real peace, what if true peace can't happen without acknowledging our truth? So rage is elemental. I want you to think about it just for a second. So rage is fire element. It purifies, it manifests. It is an awakening. So this is very fire element, okay? So fire equals flame equals manifestation, transformation, but it also is boldness, it's passion, it's chaos. Rage also has some element of earth within it. So it tends to create new land, create growth, potentially in a damaging way. But it does this by setting blaze to everything around you so that only things new can pop up. So to honor our sacred rage means that we must honor our lives. We have to say to ourselves, this matters. I matter. Now, this fire, we have to create a safe container, a safe mental container for this fire. Because while it's well and good, all well and good, to be fiery, to be passionate, to have this force within you, uncontrolled or unbridled fire eventually is going to only destroy. So we have to create a safe container for the fire. Otherwise, it can either explode uncontrollably or that rage, that fire can eat you from the inside out. And this is where shadow work meets sacred rage and becomes ceremony. So I want to offer you some grounded ways to honor your anger, some rituals, some things that we can do. And one might resonate with you, a few might resonate with you, perhaps none. If it's none, in that case, the internet is a valuable resource. I mean, do your research. You do need to vet your research quite a bit, look at some sources that are listed. But there are numerous ways that you can work with rage as it relates to the shadow. I'm going to just talk about some recommendations I have, and you can go from there and take it from it what you will. So the first thing I want to talk about is, it might sound odd. It is an altar dedicated to your anger. So I have a small one. I call it my rage altar. And this is not a place to worship your rage. We're not worshiping a destructive emotion. We are not doing that. This is honoring it in order to accept it and to transform it into energy that is beneficial and not destructive. So to create a rage altar, you can use many things. Red, orange, or black candles are going to be key for you. I would suggest either a piece of obsidian or hematite. Obsidian is extremely protective for the physical and the spiritual body. Hematite tends to be more protective for physical body. You could also throw in a carnelian, right? A carnelian stone is going to represent that fire element, but we're going to ground it at the same time. So if you want to throw in an additional third or fourth stone, you're going to want a grounding one. Top recommendations for grounding would be red jasper, moss agate, or moss is ideal. You could put smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is very common, and it's grounding. It's very soft. So some of those, all of those, none of those recommendations. I would also put any items that might represent fire on the altar. That could be just a little thing of ashes. It could be matches, nails. Nails do tend to represent fire, forged fire, and a journal. You're going to want a journal, or at least a few pieces of paper to record your rage. So you can light a candle at this altar, and you can say something along the lines of, I invite sacred rage to speak. I am listening to my rage without judgment. So you could write something, some prompts in your journal, and take your time to answer them, as lengthy as you want to, as short as you want to. Prompt 1. I am angry about ... Let your soul do the talking. Prompt 2. What I wish I could say is ... And the I that I'm referring to is rage. So you could also change that wording to say, what my rage wishes it could say is ... And then the third one is, what I needed back then ... So in that prompt, we are pulling from whatever earlier experience of using rage as a shield. We're going to take that experience, and we are going to learn from it and channel whatever feelings were brought up at the time. So that could be a very old memory for you. It could be something from childhood that you have only very brief flashes of the memory, or it could be something that happened 3 months ago. Whatever works. And I want you to pour your soul out. Answering these prompts could take some time, and that's okay. You take your time. I want you to let your soul pour out onto that paper. Later on, you can burn these pages in a ritual if that feels right. You could burn them to ash, bury the ash. You could never burn them. You could fold them up, keep them in or on an altar, just to kind of sit there as almost time capsules to your anger. Like I've said many times before, ritual is not a step-by-step program. It is a very broad, generic how-to. Ultimately, your practice is your practice, and whatever fits for you, however you have to adapt something, is right. Whatever you feel is right is correct. Now, another release ritual you can do is something I would call somatic rage release. So, very simple. This one is a physical release. I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes. Now, you have some options here. Again, physicality. That's what we're going for, okay? Here are your options. 5. I'm going to give you 5 of them. You could punch pillows. You could scream into a towel or a blanket. You could stomp your feet, loud as you want to. You can hit a mattress with a towel. So some people feel like this is for people who would love to take a baseball bat to a wall and be extremely destructive. We're not going to be extremely destructive. You take a towel. Take a long one. You hit that mattress. No one's getting hurt in that scenario, but it kind of gives you that same feeling. So you could hit a mattress. You could also throw soft objects. This is only in a safe manner. And if you're throwing soft objects, it doesn't need to be any heavier or more sturdy than a stuffed animal. And again, we're not throwing it at anybody or anything. Throw it down on the mattress. You can do it, I guess, on your floor is fine. But safe. That's what we're doing. And the important thing in this release is that you need to be breathing. You need to be breathing very deeply and staying present. I don't want you to disassociate, which is going to be kind of the default when people get into this sort of rage-filled state that the physical comes in. They start to dissociate. We don't want that to happen. I really don't want that to happen, because that is going to be detrimental to this process. It's not going to be very beneficial at all. After you finish whatever version of this you wanted to, I want you to lie down. Lie down on that same mattress or lie down on that same floor, and I want you to say softly to yourself. We're going to say this in a very soft manner. You can whisper it. The remainder of this podcast can be purchased at our Patreon, Witchy Ways for Modern Days.